Welcome to Research Matters with Unda and Kuda, an online show that is all about communicating the research taking place at NUST in efforts to promote the university's research agenda and the impact thereof.
Exactly 10 minutes past the hour of 11 o'clock, and that means it's time for another episode of Research Matters with Unda and Kuda right here on NUST FM. Now, welcome back, partner. It's great to have you back in studio. I wish we could do episodes more frequently, but I'm also not complaining because, work gets a lot. But please introduce our guest for this morning, and thank you again for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Unda. It's always so pleasant to be on NUST FM. I mean, where else would I rather be?
This is home at this point. Just coming back home every other Tuesday.
I was saying the other day, I think we should have like a spill. What do they call it? A spin show? What do they?
A spin show, called Love Matters.
Love Matters. No?
The feedback I got on that, they were like, Kuda, stay in your lane. So we'll leave it to the experts.
On that note, I will definitely stay in my lane. Now, today in studio, we have none other than Dr. Veikko Shalimba. He is the Associate Dean for the School of Engineering in the Faculty of Engineering and the Built Environment. Dr. Shalimba, we're curious, before we get into it. How are you, first of all? Are you well?
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for having me in the studio. It's actually my first time.
Yeah, we love first-timers.
Yes, we're going to get you comfortable real soon.
I love that so much, especially when somebody says, this is my first time, because this is our world for so long. This is what we live, breathe, and eat, and this is all we do is radio. So when someone tells you their first time, you're like, really?
Yeah, you've never been interviewed, never been on TV, or maybe on TV you've been?
Oh, not really.
Not really.
So maybe playing, football.
Okay, so what that means now is, so after this show, we're going to tick the radio box. So we're going to need to tick the TV one as well. We need to find a way to make it happen.
Good morning,
right?
Namibia. Something.
We'll find something for you.
Thank you.
Now, on that
appreciate
note, let's just dive right into it. What sparked your interest in engineering? How did your journey begin? Is it something you knew that, when you got into high school, were you like, I've got a knack for engineering, this is my thing? Or it just kind of happened? Tell us your story.
Well, thank you. Kuda, when I was young, I used to like mathematics, physics, and chemistries. And you know why I like these courses? Because, they challenge your brain. For you to be able to, balance equations in chemistries, of course, you need to use your brain. And also for you to be able to, solve the differential equation, whether it's first order, second order, even fourth order, you really need to use your brain. The same things, if you are to, analyze the electric circuit, again, you need to use your brain. So I just, I used to love these courses or these modules, and I think that's actually what, bring me into engineering. And I remember when I started my first years at Polytech by the time. Of course, first year you are struggling with everything. For me, it was, it was just that interest in physics, mathematics, and chemistry, which are actually the backbones of engineering. And then I remember there was opportunity for student exchange in Europe. So I applied and I went for the interview. I was shortlisted. I went for another, follow-up interviews. Then I was selected. So, then I went to Europe actually to study engineering.
Where in Europe did you end up?
Well, guess where?
Germany.
Czech Republic.
Oh, Czech Republic.
Yeah, Czech
Would
Republic.
have never guessed.
Yes, right.
It's quite close to when you say Germany, it's quite close to Czech Republic also. Yeah. So, I landed in the Czech Republic.
Talking about the Czech Republic, a little birdie, a little thing that I heard you speak Russian. Is that true?
Yes, that's not like really a good guess, but I do speak Czech. Yeah, but
so that's not, so school us here. Russian, Czech, are we separate worlds?
These are all Slavic language, but they are different, There are words which we call them fake, or fake friends words, for
like
example,
street kind of language.
Sort of. But yeah, I speak, Czech.
So, Doctor, I'm just going to pick your brain here. Maybe you can you say in Czech that you're listening to Research Matters with Unda and Kuda? I want to hear what that sounds like.
Well, prosím vás, posloucháš o research věd o Kuda a Unda, ta divnost.
Well, you know what? Whether that's correct or not, we're wow. We're just like, oh wow.
No, that was impressive.
And that is so profound. I'm always like, when a person, imagine how much bravery it takes already leaving your home country, going to study, let alone in a space that's not predominantly English speaking. That's got to be mind blowing. So kudos to you. And you got your qualification from there, so that's quite impressive.
Yeah, but it was challenging, because you have to learn intensive Czech language for the first year, and then only that you are allowed to actually enter the universities.
Also, they didn't have like an English medium for the studies.
Not really. Not
Can you
really.
write it?
So yes, my publications, most of them are in Czech. Yeah.
This is very
and
interesting.
then also I did work for a Czech company after I finished my study. I worked for Skoda. It's actually a Volkswagen concern where I was working in research and development. I was involved into the greenhouse design. When we talk about greenhouse design in automobile, a lot of people, the thing is the greenhouse that you use for plant. This is the part, the inner part of the vehicles, starting from the A pillar, the B pillar, the D pillar, if it's limousines, and also the headliner. So I was involved in those
Doctor, before you get into it, I think we need to come back to the layman. And in this, I just want you to explain to us, what does mechanical engineering really refer to, or what is the basis of it? And maybe you can also then touch on some of the career paths that are included in this type of industry.
Very well, thank you. Mechanical engineering, it's actually a broad field, where you look at many fields, so, or subfield within engineering, whether it's like transportations, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's design of systems, whether it's design of power plants. It's very broad, and the career, of course, in this, the careers in mechanical engineering is like whether you work in the automobile manufacturing, aircraft design, you work as, you work also with the, in constructions with the civil engineers, because there are some materials that, of course, are well understood by the mechanical engineering. Maybe just before I went on, because the list is long, so I want to mention the stories about this Russian army. I don't know if you heard about it. They one time went to the battlefield. Little they know that the buttons of their uniform was made of antimony. Antimony, it's a material with a symbol SB. And, this material is antimony. It's antimony. Yeah.
One thing I love about this show, we get to ask the most basic questions. Because we're like,
no,
what does that
that's
mean?
not wrong. That's not wrong. That's
So bear with
antimony
us.
in a group of lead, PB, and so forth. Now, the special things about this material, or the bad things of these materials, is that they actually sublimate, meaning that they change phase straight from solid to gas. Now, the Russian army were on a battlefield in a very cold day, and then this material, they sublimate at a low temperature. I think the temperature that they hit -20. What happened is they just see their, uniform opening.
We because their buttons are made out
the
of
buttons are made out of this antimony, which sublimate. It changed straight from solid to gas, Yeah. So those are all the areas where actually the mechanical engineers will work on. And as I said, also in the power plants, they work in, municipalities, as maintenance and so forth. The career is quite, that list is quite long. Yeah, it's quite long.
That's very exciting, because when you put things into perspective, and that's always something that we think about. We think, okay, what jobs are available in this field, whether it's from an entrepreneurial perspective or you're getting employed, but you really just want to know what are the different career paths that I can follow, and you really put that into perspective.
And maybe to add that, Kuda also, engineers are also good business people. So engineers, mechanical engineers are also not limited to venture into business.
I like that. That's quite a wholesome approach to everything, and that's even something that we're really trying to promote at the institution, the entrepreneurship, to say whatever field you're in,
secure the bag.
Secure the bag.
Correct.
With that said, Dr. Industry academia links are becoming more crucial to make a meaningful impact in the societies that we live. Tell us about some of the work you're involved in that includes these various stakeholders.
Okay, well, the one that I'm involved right now, or maybe I should start with some project that I did in Europe before I moved to Namibia. Maybe let me start
perfect. As long as
quickly.
you can sum it up.
Very fine. Good. Yeah. So when I was working the research and development at Volkswagen, I was involved in the projects where we're trying to reduce the overall weight of the vehicle. The reason was because of these emissions. I don't know if you remember Dieselgate, So all the automobile companies were actually forced to reduce the overall weight of the vehicles. And now I was, working on the greenhouse or developing the greenhouse part, which is the headliners. So when I get in that company, they used to have, the headliner that they use, which weighed roughly about 4 kilograms. So then we come up with the idea as a whole team to research or to develop a new headliner which is made out of natural fiber. The good things of this, the design that we came up with, we actually reduced the overall or the weight of the headliners by 70%. So from 3 kilogram to roughly about 700 gram. That was like really
an achievement.
An
achievement.
I can already tell that you could say that was one of the highlights of your career to date.
Yeah, of course. And then once you reduce now the overall weight of the vehicle, you reduce the fuel consumptions. At the same time, also you reduce the fuel. The emissions from this fuel. This is carbon monoxide and carbon dioxides, which we are trying to avoid in a huge amount in the atmosphere. Now, getting back to present, at NUST, I'm actually involved in a project called Tivagri. This is revenue diversification pathways in Europe and Africa through bio-based technologies in agricultural innovations. And we are looking at, or we are piloting about 7 technologies. And these technologies are mainly for small, holder farmer to improve their livelihoods and also to make some income. So the first technologies is actually the biogas, digesters. This is part of my, research, portfolio. So the biogas digesters, as we're talking, is installed at Hotel NUST School, and then we are producing, cooking gas. The whole point is to produce enough cooking, gas for training kitchens at NUST Hotel School. And what are we using? We are only feeding these biogas digesters with, kettle dungs that we take from new dams, and also we charge it with kitchen waste from the hotel school, So with those two, we are able to produce every day, a huge amount of gas that can be used for cooking. And then there's also another technology.
Sorry, Dr.
Yes?
If I could just interject there. That's a very interesting one. Perhaps, is this something what's the long-term goal? Is this something to do it on ideally is it a pilot? Is it something that you would like to do on a mass scale one day? What's the long-term?
Very good.
Because,
very good.
The moment you just piqued my interest there as well to say, how did we go from mechanical engineering to farming and to buying? I'm like, whoa.
It's agricultural engineering.
Yes.
So we're not engineer, we're not mechanical engineer, we're not limited. So the whole point here is now, like I mentioned, that we are piloting this technology now, and then we will move to the next phase where we are going to demonstrate it. We're going to, collect more data at demo sites, and only when we know that these technologies are actually good for Namibia, then we actually now, upscale them. And to be honest, we've been now already showcasing these technologies, and most farmers, they are very much interested in this because it's you are cutting costs on electricity. I don't know these days. $100 Namibian dollars, you have roughly about 40 units, which will not even last you for a week. So we need to come up with some, method to reduce cost on energy. Yeah,
that is a very valid point. The moment you just said, this much amount right now, you only get this unit, these many units. I'm sure you touched a lot of pain points there for a lot of people, because that's what you can relate to. Because whilst all this great research is going on, while all these pilot studies are going on, essentially what the average person at community level wants to know, how does this affect my pocket? How does this concern my life?
And what
how
can I use that at my disposal that would cut that cost for me? Yeah. So, but Doctor, maybe I can look at, you were speaking about technologies and how
there's a lot of... more. I just mentioned about one.
Okay, I'll let you finish this. I'll let you finish, and then maybe I can come back to that.
Then there's another, technology where we are producing, biochar to enhance soils. The biochars are actually, they have higher rate of porosity, and then they trap water within themselves. And also if you charge them with animal manure, they trap those nutrients and water also. So when the soil get dry, then they release these, nutrients and water to the plant. And then there's also technologies on biorefineries, where we are producing oyster mushroom from wood substrate, wood chips, and then these wood chips, once you harvest, you can turn them into super insulated brick, that you can use to build house and so forth. And we also have what we call the slacky. This is the self low energy irrigated clay based irrigations, where we design some clay tubes. These clay tubes also, they act as sensor. They sense the moistures of soil, and then they only release water when it's needed. So we're saving water here. And then remember, Namibia, the huge problem here is water.
Yeah, it is.
And we also have another technologies, what we call the solar desalination greenhouse, where we're trying to remove calcium from water so that this water can be used for irrigations. We have a sea with, salt waters, and also this area between Windhoek and Okahanja. You don't know why it's called Brackvattle, because that area, there's underground. The underground water it has salt. It's brackish. So all these farms there, they are not using that underground water for crop irrigations, or otherwise they have to treat this water using either reverse osmosis or using this technology that we're proposing. So there are quite a lot of, also the wetland, multi-constructed wetland, where we are filtering this wastewater from, either kitchens or from the showers. So you want to reuse this water for irrigation purpose. So those are quite, few of the, 7 technologies that we are piloting. And as I say, very soon we are moving to the demonstration site to collect more data and just to make sure that these technologies are good for Namibia. And we also, compiling the business model. If there are some business people listening that they want to venture into this, we have the business model with all the value chains, and so forth and so forth. It's actually sort of, circular economy where nothing goes to waste.
Sounds like an exciting time for Namibia. Truly, if we get this off, I think we will make great impacts in the lives of people on the grassroots, like here in person, change that you can see. But let's take a look at some of the advancements that you've noticed in the field of engineering, because it is growing rapidly and there's a lot of change taking place. So maybe what are some of those key changes that you've noticed or that you've picked up, and how are you preparing your students, to keep up with this change?
Okay, good. I mentioned about the Russians, story here. The changes are actually in advanced materials, Now the world is looking into what we call shape memory alloys. These are the material, if you deform them, they will return to their size and shapes, which these are good material for maybe the car bumpers, because if someone dent you, you just apply some water or something, some heat to that material, and it returns to the same size and same shapes.
I see taxi drivers flourishing.
Now I'm like, okay,
now they're just going to bump you.
Okay, I've got a few dents that I...
Yeah. Or even learner drivers, they're just going to it's going to be fine.
But then, if I can just jump in, I don't know if you'd be able to speak to this, because as much as all these technologies are always great, the ideas are there, the technologies are there, just basically putting it out there. But sometimes they're just so far and just out of reach, especially when you look at the cost. Yeah. Is it something that's out there in the market yet, or we're going to have to...
Of course, these technologies, they are already out in the market, especially in Europe, but surely they will be here also in Africa. And when it comes to, the cost is because they are new, and then they are quite expensive. And then with time, it's just like this solar panel, during those days, solar panel were quite expensive. No one could afford it. Yeah. If someone have a solar panel on top of their roof, these are maybe people that work for those times, CDM.
In the high income groups.
High
That is so
exactly.
true. That's a very valid point that you raised there, because whenever a technology is new, the prices sometimes are so ridiculous.
Yeah.
But as the demand grows and the production grows, then essentially... Everybody can afford it. Now, solar panel, you can even, this builder that are building houses around Windhoek, you see them charging their phone with small, solar panels. Yes.
Yeah. So the other area, where there's actually huge change is artificial intelligence and machine learnings. This is where, for example, you are training your, maybe the radiator in your house. I don't know if maybe they use radiator. These are actually heat exchangers to warm up the house. So you are training these devices. So when you get back home in a cold day, once you set your movements, then it switch on automatic. Yeah. These are now machine learning. You are learning the machine or these devices to perform some special functions for you. And also in the area of additive manufacturing, we're talking of 3D printings, where you have now complex design, which you cannot, produce using, conventional methods. So you have to 3D print it.
I see a lot of architects use that method, especially I think if they're showing clients that look and feel, because it's those one thing models, on paper, but when you have a model, it's,
it's different. It's different, And also one shouldn't forget about, sustainable engineering and green technology, So we're trying to move out from burning fossil fuels. So we looking into, solar, we're looking into geothermal energy, wind energy, and with Namibia, promised to become the hub of green hydrogens. So this is really something that our student can pick up and maybe tap into more to be in the forefront in these technologies. Geothermals, we have a lot of ground aquifers here. I don't know if you know of this area, Grossparmens. It's showing already, because what is happening is that there's a heat coming from the magma, which is heating this water, and because of pressure and temperature, this water is actually now popping out, So one can actually, the hot spring, one can actually reach this source and pump water there, because that's the hot temperatures. And once you pump water there, you the water turn into steams. You collect the steams now to run it through the turbines, and then you generate electricity. In that way, you are increasing your energy mix, not only, hydro energies or the fossil fuel that you are using, you are actually increasing your, energy mix, which is very good. And if you are energy independent, the
flourish.
economy will actually flourish. There are many, digital twin technologies where you are now simulating or analyzing or optimizing in real time the technology which is used in the aircraft industry and also in automobile industry. There are many, robotic and automations, the biotechnologies in agricultural engineering, the one that I mentioned here.
Yeah.
So the list is quite long. Yeah.
No, but I think at this point, let's take a musical break. But maybe, Doctor, you can highlight why Gaza Mokasi was the
I
choice
like that.
of
I'm
song.
pleasantly surprised.
Where does that song take you? What does it remind you of?
Well, when I was in Europe, if you play this song, because that time, I think it was released somewhere in 2007. So when you play this song, it reminds you of Windhoek life, the activity that you used to do. It's like, Saturday morning, the Kapana meets. And then, of course, Sunday morning,
like
the car wash
home.
and so forth.
Yeah.
These are small little things. But when you are not in a country, you
appreciate it a little
appreciate it a lot, but you feel like, yes, it's Sunday and I just miss this car wash, because those things you don't see them in Europe. So now I used to play this song, and then it just reminds me the whole Windhoek life, and maybe
Home sweet home.
it killed my homesick actually. Yeah, this is how I choose it. I used to listen it a lot when I was studying.
All right.
Yeah.
Now have the listener take a listen, and we'll be back on the flip side.
Now, welcome back. If you've just joined us, you are listening to Unda and Kuda right here on NUST FM. Now, we've gone from mechanical engineering, solar energy, biochar, artificial intelligence, all of it and more. Essentially, we're just talking about sustainability. In studio today, we have Dr. Veikko Shalimba. He's the Associate Dean of the School of Engineering, and he's taken us places. We've gone from Russia back to Windhoek and everything in between. Yeah, now, just, Doctor, if you can just tell us about some of the work you've published, with all the diverse topics that you're into and all the research interests. If you just had to really narrow it down, what would you say these are the, say, three Dr. Shalimba niche areas, if I can put it that way? What are your key focus areas?
Okay, good. Thank you. Actually, I did a lot of publications in the area of nanomaterials, in the area of renewable energies, and also in the area of biorefinery. Yeah, those are actually three areas where I, publish quite a lot. And then my publications are actually on, Google Scholars. Or,
In English or in Czech?
Some are in Czech, some are in English.
Wow.
Yeah, some are in Czech, some are in English. And also they are on this journal store, which is accessible to everyone. Yeah.
All right, Doctor. Sorry, I was
deep into it.
Yeah, I thought there was more coming. I don't know. But you've supervised a number of master students. What is that experience like? And is that something you enjoy doing, or is it just part of the job? You just gotta do it.
Well, and maybe if I can add on to that, allow me, partner. What kind of a supervisor are you? Because I always hear the whole supervisor, master student, or PhD. People are like, my supervisor is unavailable. And this, in your honest opinion, what kind of supervisor?
But can he be honest?
But give him a chance.
Let me be honest with you.
Without being biased.
Yes, I did supervise some, undergraduate and also postgraduate student. And at the moment, I'm also supervising 2 students. One student is actually looking at the designs of metal separation systems, and the other student is looking at the design, analyze, and optimizations of the wind turbine, to generate electricity. So, when it comes to supervisions, it's a big challenge, because you need to, time management is very important. time management. You need to balance, time with your teachings, with your research, and also with your supervisions. So you really need to come up with a very good plan to make sure that you balance between these three components. Yeah, and also you need to encourage students also to take ownerships of their own projects. So not spoon feedings. They have to make sure that the progress is on their own, it's on their hands. And also very important, you need to foster professional development. If there's some conference, you will have to ask the students, can you put up this paper together, and then you go present it. And also you research and do publication together. This is very good for the professional growth for the students. Also, you shouldn't forget to manage the diverse student needs. Skill level, cultural differences. We have international students, and supervising international student might not be the same as supervising the local students. Their challenges are different. You need to look at those. And very important out of this is mentorships and guidance. You behave as a coach when there's a football game. The coach is just, guiding, but not playing at all. And then at the end, you have victories. So you work as a coach, just to mentor and guide the students.
I really like that analogy because I think at the end of the day, and you've touched on so 10 out of 10. And I think that especially what you've touched on, just having those insights to know that, yes, I need to walk them through this journey, but I need to make sure there's no spoon feeding, there's time for tough love. And to know that people have their unique challenges, but this is the end goal. We need to score on this football pitch, because otherwise we walk out with nothing, right? So I like that. Kudos to you.
All right. Now, if you were in charge of the country's educational sector, Doctor, just for one day, hypothetically, what would you change? Or is there anything you would change? And what would it be? And why would you change it?
That's a tough one.
Yeah, it's quite a lot.
Maybe I would decolonize the curriculums. Yeah, I would decolonize the curriculums.
What do you mean when you say decolonize? What do you envisage when you say that?
Because we also have our principle, we have our law that guide those principles that were used by our ancestors here in Africa. But the bad part is that these things are not documented, So our curriculum is more Western. Of course, there are different school of thought here. If it's engineering, it's fine because we don't have, guiding principles or governing equations to solve these engineering problems. But if it's medicines and maybe, psychology and so forth, of course, I'm sure that there are some principles which were used by our ancestors
that we can integrate back
in the system. Perhaps some of them they are outdated, but we can modify them, we can modernize them to fit our current needs. So if I was now in charge of that portfolio, I will for sure decolonize the curriculums.
Dr. Shalimba for president.
Definitely. One thing that I'm just about to hand over the mic back to Unda here, but if I could just sum it up, if I could just give you out of a score out of 10, we must always score things. For a first timer, we're giving you an 8. We can't give you 10 because that's biased.
I'll be more generous and 8.5. Because that last answer, president type of answer.
Well done.
Yeah. But that unfortunately does bring us to the end of this very insightful conversation. I think I've learned so much. I didn't know that we could implement some engineering aspects into agriculture even, and that I think agriculture always speaks a very person, close to me. So that was something that I definitely learned, but it was an absolute pleasure to have you in studio, Doctor. And of course, I know you have another song titled Hear Me, Lord. Maybe this one is also up close and personal. And so before we sign off, maybe if you want to give 2 cents, should I let you give 2 cents or should I? Just
any last remarks?
Now on the songs, yeah?
Yeah, on that one song.
Now, Oliver Mtukudzi was a legendary figure in African musics. And his songs often carried a message of social and spiritual, connections. Hear Me Lord actually reflect the deep-rooted spiritualities in many African cultures, making it not just a song, but a sort of a prayer, and it reflects on life struggles and hopes. So again, I used to play this a lot when I was in Europe because it reminds me the poverty line that I'm trying to, disconnect in Africa, Yeah, so it's quite good song.
Okay.
So for me, I just remember I'd said an 8 out of 10, and this is no bias, not because I'm originally Zimbabwean or anything, and Oliver Mtukudzi is originally from Zimbabwe, but I'm just going to remark a little bit and just give it a 10 out of 10. No bias.
No bias. But of course, that does bring us to the end of Research Matters right here with Unda and Kuda. Again, Doctor, thank you so much for coming in. For those that have just joined us, unfortunately, this is the end, but you can follow the Research, Innovation and Partnerships at NUST pages. That is on Facebook as well as LinkedIn. And in case you don't want to do that or you have alternative options, you can follow the NUST FM on Facebook and Instagram and the NUST YouTube channel, as we have all our podcasts available for those that might have missed the previous episodes and this one right here. But of course, that is the end. I'll bring you the sounds of Oliver Mtukudzi with This Is Hear Me Lord, and that is it for us.